Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're actually going to be talking about a late snowstorm here, April 15th, and we're actually talking about a snowstorm, very late season snowstorm here. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you guys prefer waffles, pancakes, or French toast? Let me know in the comments and give me a good reason for why you favor one of those, and I'll be picking one of those comments for tomorrow's video. Now let's get into this video. We're going to be talking about this late season snowstorm. It's going to last from about April 17th until April 18th, late on April 18th. So we can see this is only 48 hours away. We're going to have a low pressure system developing in Kansas and Missouri. This is going to lead to snowfall for areas like Nebraska, Iowa, maybe even Kansas and Missouri as well, and then northern Illinois, northern Indiana. Let's take this a little further, and we can see that by about 2 p.m. on April 17th, we're going to be talking about Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York mostly here on this snowstorm. Now, it's important to mention this is the GFS model. I will also, in the second half of this video, be going over the European model and how it has a different track a little bit with this one. And we'll actually be showing our official snowfall forecast for this storm at the end of this video as well. So stay tuned for all of that. We're about to move on, and we're going to start talking more about the northeastern United States during this snowstorm. Alright, so as you can see, in the Northeast, we're going to have far below average temperatures. I wanted to show this because a lot of people are probably going to ask, how is this even possible this late in the year? Well, look at those purples and pinks. That's where we have 8 to even 16 degrees below average. Obviously, this is very believable. If you're out there this morning, you know it is very chilly. So there's going to be cold air around by time we're reaching about this weekend. Again, this is about 2 p.m. on April 5th or April 17th on Friday. Let's take it all the way. I'd say it's about 8 p.m. on Friday, and we see that the low pressure system is going to be located somewhere in western Pennsylvania, and this will be leading to snow in northern Pennsylvania, southern New York, according to the GFS model. The European has a little bit of a more southern route with this one, and by a little bit, I mean probably actually a lot, as we'll see more central and northern Pennsylvania get in on this, northern New Jersey as well, and in through New England. This one's a lot further north than what the European model is showing, like I said before. So on this one, we're looking at moderate to heavy snowfall for southern New York, specifically, I guess, the Finger Lakes regions there, and then also for very far northern Pennsylvania. But again, that low pressure system would be located in about west central Pennsylvania, just north of Pittsburgh about. Now, we're about to move on, and we're going to start talking about when this moves a little bit further east and southward. We're going to start to see upstate New York and also New England see more impacts from this quick snowstorm. Alright, so as you can see, our low pressure system will be located somewhere in northeastern Pennsylvania by about 2 a.m. on Saturday, April 18th. And we're seeing snowfall mostly for upstate New York and in through very far northern Massachusetts, probably there for some of the Berkshires. And then we see southern Vermont, southern New Hampshire getting in on some of that moderate snowfall that could be actually the bullseye for this storm, even though I think southern New York is actually going to be the bullseye, or southern upstate New York, that is, or I guess western New York is what they call that. Now, let's go ahead and take it all the way to 2 p.m. on Saturday, April 18th. And you can see that it's pretty much moved out with the exception of some mixed showers there for southern New England up through Vermont and New Hampshire as well. But really, for the most part, it has moved out by about 2 p.m. on Saturday. Now, here's the total snowfall on the GFS model. And you can see it keeps it pretty far north. Probably has a bullseye somewhere in northern Pennsylvania, southern New York. If you take mixing into account, probably going to end up being southern New York there that gets most of that snowfall, especially high elevations. Looks like the Catskills probably getting most of that. Let's basically in the blues, we're looking at a dusting to about 3 inches of snow. That's pretty widespread. And then once it gets into the purples, that's where we're looking at about 3 to 6 inches of snow. And then the pinks is where we're looking at about 6 to 12 inches of snow, probably staying under 10 inches for the bullseye of this storm. Once you take temperature into account, the ground temperature, the sun angle, we're probably going to have a little bit less snowfall than what these models are leaning towards. I'll talk more about that in my total snowfall map at the end of this video, the official direct weather forecasted total snowfall. I might be updating for this storm though as we get a little bit closer if need be, but for now this is going to be my outlook for this upcoming quick snowstorm. Now we're about to move on and we're going to take a look at that European model like I said before. So we're going to take a look at that. Going to be very exciting to see what the European model has to say. Once again, it's looking like it's going to be a far more southern track for this snowstorm. Now, on the European model, let's go ahead and take a look at 8 a.m. on Friday. That's going to be the 17th, and you can see that snowfall moving into Michigan and Ohio by about 8 a.m. on that day. Let's take it to 2 p.m. on Friday the 17th, and you could see a big difference. We see Cleveland getting some moderate snowfall, basically all of northern Ohio, even up through Detroit, so southern Michigan as well. And then we see central, especially west central Pennsylvania, getting in on some of that moderate to heavy snowfall as well on the European model here by this point. Keep in mind, the European model is known for being a better model, so it's going to be very interesting to move forward and see which one plays out better, but I'm always leaning towards the European when it comes to GFS versus the European model. That's usually the way to go historically. Let's take it to about 8 p.m. On Friday the 17th, and we can see that north Pennsylvania, north and maybe north central Pennsylvania, especially getting some of that moderate to heavy snowfall, but you could tell it's well further south and actually west of what the GFS is showing. We see our low pressure system is more down in Kentucky, actually, but we see southern New York getting a little bit less snowfall in this outlook, and northern Pennsylvania getting a little bit more snowfall on this outlook. So that definitely the trend with the European model is a little bit further south with most of the implications here on this storm. Let's take it all the way to 2 a.m. on Saturday the 18th here, and you can see that moderate to heavy snowfall has really moved into mostly upstate New York and in through southern New England. But I think northern Pennsylvania still hasn't wrapped up here. Definitely looking at a lot more snowfall here on this model. We see probably areas like Albany and through areas like the Berkshires throughout Massachusetts and even down into northern Connecticut. So definitely a huge difference here on the European model from the GFS model. Again, the low pressure system located maybe over somewhere like Winchester, Virginia, rather than in northeastern Pennsylvania. So a huge location difference here on the European model rather than the GFS model. But definitely going to be a quick storm, but it's going to be pretty moderate to heavy snowfall here, as you can see. Let's take it all the way to about 8 a.m. on Saturday, and you can see it's really lightening up. We're seeing light to moderate snow, I guess, for portions of Pennsylvania, New York, southern New England, and even Vermont and New Hampshire as well. Maybe the very southern areas of Maine getting in on some of this, and you can see the low pressure system is located over Delaware. And then as we take it to about 2 p.m. on Saturday, the 18th, it's pretty much all said and done. Everything's pretty much wrapped up by this point. So we're about to move on, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that European model's total snowfall map, and then we're going to take a look at our official preliminary snowfall map for this storm from Direct Weather. All right, so here's the European model's outlook as far as snowfall, and you can see it's well further south of what the GFS model was showing. We see the bullseye probably for northern Pennsylvania here. We also see the Berkshires getting a bit of snow. I'm pretty skeptical about those amounts down there for Connecticut and Rhode Island. I think that's going to be mostly reserved for Massachusetts. I think we could get a dusting of very, very slushy snow down in Connecticut, but I think mostly Massachusetts, Berkshires, and then also some of the hilly regions more in central Massachusetts are going to be probably the areas with the most likely chance to see 3 inches plus as far as New England is concerned. Maybe southern New Hampshire or southern Vermont could also get in on those amounts if the GFS is more correct. But I would say probably the areas in Massachusetts that are very close to Vermont, and also the areas in Massachusetts that are very close to New Hampshire on the very western edge of near Keene, New Hampshire, near Nashua. That's the areas that are going to be closer to the 3-inch amounts, I believe. But anywhere in the blues, we're looking at about 1 inch to 6 inches of snow. And then as we move into those pinks, that's where we're looking at 6 to 12 inches of snow. The European model here has maybe 10 inches showing up for Pennsylvania, but I think that since the temperatures will be a little bit higher, since it's April in the sun angle, I think we're going to probably see a bullseye of maybe 6 to 10 inches of snow, probably closer to 6 inches. All right, let's get into that official snowfall forecast. We're starting out with our dusting to 3-inch region here. And you can see that's extended from Ohio through Pennsylvania, West Virginia. I'm keeping this pretty broad. I'm keeping it pretty far south just for areas that could see some flakes. If you're in the white, that means you can see any flakes to 3 inches of snow, not really even a dusting. Let's move on to our 3 to 6 inch amounts, and you can see maybe some northwestern regions of Ohio, central and northern Pennsylvania, and then southern New York as well. And then I think there for the Green Mountains is also down through the Berkshires, and then you can also see those hilly regions throughout New Hampshire down through Massachusetts as well, all expecting to see the potential for 3 to 6 inches of snow. And then let's go ahead and take a look at our 6 to 10 inch amounts, and this is where I think the bullseye of this storm will be: northern Pennsylvania, possibly even southern New York there as well, with the potential for 6 inches plus. I think I'm going to be updating this storm for sure, so be on the lookout for that in the next 2 days. I might be making an update either tomorrow or on the morning of the 17th, just to give you guys a brief update. This is pretty broad and pretty low resolution, so we're going to need to update this probably as we move forward. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, Jordan Slater, the question was do you prefer the beach or the mountains? And I asked for a good reason for that. Jordan Slater said mountains. Not only are they beautiful and peaceful, but I love driving down them winding mountain roads, and I couldn't agree anymore. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.